All right.
I think we are back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think some Yankee fans found the stream and took it
They hacked
down.
us.
They
Yep.
hacked us because we're 7
Yeah.
games up on them. So it is what it
I
is.
know.
What we were talking about was the kind of wrapping up the Orioles series. The only thing I wanted to say, kind of, I don't think there's a whole bunch to glean from the series so far. So the one thing I did kind of want to throw out as a something to be on the watch for is the Rays are continuing to struggle against left-handed starting pitching. Trevor Rogers, one of the better left-handed starters in baseball, and so that is something I don't think the Rays are going to fix that at this point in the season. It just sort of is what it is. So it'll be interesting to see if we get to the postseason how they may structure our starting pitching to sort of counter it in the sense that we know we want to have our best pitchers going when we're going to face lefties because we're probably just not going to score a bunch of runs.
Yeah, man. And yeah, it's tough because like you said, they're really bad against lefties. It's not just a fluke. It's not something that, oh, they're just really bad every time I watch them face a left-handed pitcher. No, they're bottom 10 in xWOBA and WRC plus against left-handed pitching as a team. So definitely not eyes deceiving you or anything. I'm not sure the logic behind it. Like Yandy hits lefties pretty well, but Aranda doesn't necessarily hit lefties very well. Junior, definitely mashes against everyone, but the rest of the lineup, like, it's interesting. Ryan Villade's kind of their only true lefty masher, I guess you could call him. But yeah, like Ben Williamson was playing second against lefties. Ben Williamson, not exactly a world beater out there offensively, more of a glove first type of fella. So yeah, there's explanations for it. And like you said, I don't think it's going to between now and the start of the postseason. So I'll be really interested to see if they approach it as, from like a game planning perspective with their rotation. Like, do they just kind of punt if they're facing a lefty, or do they say, hey, let's go strength versus strength, let's throw Rasmussen or Nick Martinez out there against a lefty, or if they're like, hey, let's just throw one of our weaker starters and actually try to win a ball game when our offense has more of the advantage against a righty starter. But I don't know how much that's really going to factor into it, because postseason, like, they have such short leashes for starters that it's like, and it's so random. Like, anyone can have a good game anytime. Like, it's just, so I don't know if we might just be overthinking it, honestly. They might just be like, game 1 and 2, Rasmussen and Nick Martinez, and then just, go from there. But we'll see. It's fun to talk about, even if it's not necessarily practical.
Well, and because there's not a lot to nitpick about this team, to be honest. I mean, would I love our second base position to be slightly more productive? Although I got to stop saying that because Palacios has been quite good.
Yeah,
over
Palacios
the
been big.
last.
Yeah, he's been balling.
Especially since like the trade deadline and since the All-Star break, he's been quite good. So
Yes.
we're getting production out of just about everywhere on some level. It may not all be All-Star level, but you're never going to get that anyway. So there's not a lot of things that I can really nitpick on this team. So that's just kind of one of the areas to nitpick. And when you're going throughout your day and you're looking for things to nitpick, one of the easiest things to do is to nitpick your wardrobe. You feel like it's not what you want it to be. And unlike the Rays, with the trade deadline being over and no real way to fix that, there's a very simple solution to fix it if you're not happy with your wardrobe. It's shop.rblarsports.com, where you can find all the best merch inspired by your favorite Tampa sports teams: Rowdies, Bucks, Lightning, Rays, and Sun. It's all there. Shop.rblarsports.com. Use promo code FLAPPY, FLAPPY, for 10% off your entire order. Shop.rblarsports.com.
Yeah, man, check it out. Check it out. Check it out, because it's not just Rays stuff. Even if you're looking for Rowdies, Bucks, Lightning, Sun, we've got you covered, man. We've got you covered. And yeah, like you said, the Rays might not be able to fix their woes against lefties, but you can certainly fix any woes that you might have in your closet. So yeah, check it out.
Indeed. And if you got a case of the Mondays and need a little Rays injected into your Monday, you can hop over to RBLRsports.com for the Rays Roundtable every Monday morning. So you can fix your wardrobe, you can fix the Mondays. It's all there, RBLRsports.com.
Yeah, I've got a piece coming out on the little roundtable this week. So yeah, stay tuned. I know it's if you really are you listen to me for almost, I don't know how long we've been doing this, 40 minutes, and you're like, man, need more of that guy, which God, for that's probably just my mom in that category, but that's okay. Even my fiance doesn't want any more of that, but definitely check it out for the rest of the people that submit it, because they do great work. No, but yeah, man, and I've got the Sunday scaries myself as well. Like, yeah, work tomorrow. Oof. Yeah, so it's nice to have something to look forward to, and the Rays Roundtable kind of fits that description.
It absolutely does. One thing that is something I always look forward to every episode is the RBLR Bat and Arm of the Week. And so, Carter, can you get us started with the Bat of the Week?
Yeah, Yandy Diaz, man. I mean, Yandy Diaz, like I was talking about this actually ironically with my boss at work. Yandy Diaz is shooting up some lists here for all-time Rays hitters. Like
Yes. Mm-hmm.
it's getting real interesting. Like he's going to be in some really interesting conversations. I'm sorry, I know we're talking about the week that he just had, which he had a couple of home runs, and I think he had like a WRC plus over 200 or something. Like just crazy productive week. That happens when you play. Like he had that little journey through the forest, shall we say, where he was struggling a little bit, maybe dealing with an injury or whatnot. I can't, I couldn't really tell you, but man, he really got right in Colorado and Sacramento, and those are good places to go to get right, So hopefully that kind of gets him back in the groove of things because he was having just a prototypical great Yandy Diaz season up to that point. So yeah, he was really exciting to watch this year, and hopefully continues to play well this season, and then obviously in the playoffs and in the next, because like I said, man, it's getting kind of interesting with him. Like it's Evan Longoria and Ben Zobrist and Carl Crawford, Yandy
Mm-hmm.
Diaz, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's up there. Like it's yeah. So some interesting conversations to be had about Yandy Diaz, and this week was just kind of part of that conversation.
Yeah, and I think Pat and I have talked about it several times. He is going to be in those conversations whenever his career with the Rays ends. And I don't know that he's going to not be here next year. He totally could be. He's got an option for 2027, so he could still be around next year. So we'll see what happens there. I do think that the one thing that's kind of like gives him a really good shout is that he was a part of the Rays World Series team. And
Absolutely.
so now, if he could get another really good run in to add that to kind of another pelt on the wall, again, I think it just becomes really interesting talking about where he lands all time as a Ray. And I've enjoyed watching his tenure. I still remember when we traded for him. And the conversations around like what are the Rays going to do with this guy? He looks like a monster, but he hits line drives and ground balls. Like what are the Rays going to do with this guy? And it's been so fun to watch his career as a Ray, and he's been such a part of what this team has been. So obviously, great week this week. But yeah, it'll be fun when we look back on Yandy Diaz's career to see where he lands among the other all-time Rays greats. And
Yeah.
I don't know that Nick Martinez, who's our arm of the week, is going to necessarily be an all-time Rays great, but he's had an all-time great season. And
Yeah.
this last week was another kind of highlight. I love a complete game. 9 innings. He did give up 4 runs. 2 of them were in the last inning. They barely even count. But a complete game. I just love to see it. You don't see them very much anymore. They're fun, and he's been so good all season long. He's our arm of the week, and I just. Man, like I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't know where the Rays pitching staff would be without Nick Martinez.
Yeah, man, they would be in a lot worse shape. Like a lot of a couple of the new acquisitions, Nick Martinez, and I know Cedric Mullins has struggled a little bit, but I don't know though, like because Cedric Mullins has turned things around a little bit as the season has
Yes.
gone
Yeah.
on. Ryan Valade has been pretty good. So like the Rays had some new blood come into this roster, like they do every year. They're very transactional. They have a lot of moving parts here, and yeah, man, they've hit on obviously the Steven Matz thing hasn't necessarily worked out as well as they would like it to have, but there are worse things, and yeah, man, Nick Martinez, he was an all-star, rightfully so, and he won't be in the Cy Young conversation. He's not having a Blake Snell or David Price-esque season, but man, it's been a really good one. It's been a really, really good one, and he's been a joy to watch, and we talked about him a lot at the beginning of the show, and how entertaining he is to pitch, or how entertaining he is to watch pitch, because he just seems to really have fun out there. So yeah, man, shout out Nick Martinez. He's been great.
Yeah, he's been great, fun to watch. And, he has 12 wins this season. And obviously, like, wins don't matter that much because it's a team game. And especially like pitcher wins, there's so many things go into that. But if you think about, imagine if we didn't have him and we had to get those 12 wins some other way, like not having him out there starting. He's been a big part of those 12 wins because he's been really good. And yeah, I just wonder where we would be. But we don't have to wonder because he's here and he's been awesome.
That's right.
To wrap us up a little bit, some movement over this last week, some movements up and down, couple of injury updates. Shane McClanahan is on a rehab assignment in Durham. So that's moved along much better. Griffin Jacks, we were scared for a minute that he might be done for the season. Seems to have avoided the worst of it. He is on the IL right now, but they are optimistic that he's going to be able to, need not too long to build back up and get back to the majors, which is that would be huge to have both those guys back going down the home stretch. The Rays, in the wake of losing Ben Williamson, they brought up Carson Williams for a little bit. There's all kinds of discourse about that. And, that's a whole other conversation. But they ended up sending him back down and signing free agent Jorge Mateo, who has been, him as an Oriole. That's where you've seen him. And he's going to be around as a, late inning defensive sub, pinch runner type of guy. He'll get a spot start here and there, but he'll be around. He's not going to start many games, but and he's perfectly serviceable in that role.
Yeah. Yeah, I really liked the Mateo signing, if only just because it provides them with another way to cause havoc on the bases, because he's so fast. Like, he's one of the fastest people in baseball. And
Yes.
yeah, he might, like you said, he's not a guy you want starting every day. But I think they'll probably plug him in against lefties at second, and if Taylor Walls needs a day off, he can play short and not have it be a total disaster. So he's fine, and I know that Carson Williams is uber talented, one of the best defensive shortstops in baseball, right? Like, absolutely. But yeah, his bat, kind of a work in progress. But yeah, that's appreciate that they want Carson Williams to be starting every day. Like, him playing second against lefties is not that's not good for his long-term development. And so I totally understood the move, even if maybe Carson Williams' upside is higher than Mateo's. Like, I get why they sent him down, and it was probably needed. But I think they just announced while we were doing the show that Shane McClanahan's actually going to come back tomorrow. And
Oh,
he's starting.
really?
Yes, I
Let's
believe I
go.
saw. I
That's
believe I saw
awesome.
that from Toppers. So, yeah, exciting stuff, man. It's great
That's
to have
great.
McClanahan back. That kind of eliminates one of the bad, or one of the just kind of question mark days in
For
terms of the
sure.
rotation.
Yes.
Because they traded for Freddie Peralta to kind of shore up some of the innings, and now they've, like you said, they brought up Joe Boyle, and I can't remember if they are going to send down Joe Boyle. I can't remember who they're sending down after they activate
Could be
Shane McClanahan.
Schultz too. Yeah.
It could be Schultens too, but regardless, he fills in that, because Jax went down, and then McClanahan, or whatever their order was, they were missing
Yes,
two
they both went
starters.
down. Yeah.
Freddie Peralta went and replaced one of them, and now they've got a starting five, if you will. And
Yes.
that's a much more comfortable place to be in terms of bullpen usage and all that stuff. So it'll be good for them to kind of get back to the normalcy of their starting pitching usage and their bullpen usage, because now they've got five guys that are going to go out and start and hopefully pitch pretty well. And Shane has pitched pretty well this season. He's been pretty good. So
Yeah,
yeah.
he has been. And the other really good news on the injury front is that one of the guys that we talked about a bunch leading into the season that we thought was going to be a huge part of the bullpen and then got hurt and haven't seen him all year, but we're about to see him, is Manuel Rodriguez. He's been rehabbing in Durham. They think he is very close to coming back up to the majors. He is one of my favorite pitchers in the Rays system. So fun to watch, high octane stuff. He is close to getting back up to the majors. What a boost to the bullpen he will be. And like you said, we're just getting closer to sort of the final form of this Rays pitching staff, where we're going to start to see in the next week or two, hey, this is what the pitching staff is actually going to look like in the postseason with all the guys that we actually want in there. And I'm really excited to see that, because the Rays, the best version of the Rays pitching staff is going to be awesome to watch.
Yeah, and I'll be curious to see how they use them, if they kind of ease them back into things, like, because they've got obviously Kelly and Clevinger, who I know had a rough couple of games. I actually wrote about him in the roundtable, so you can hear more of my thoughts there. But they've got Kelly and Brian Baker and Clevinger, and
Right.
even Cam Boozer's been great this season. So
Yeah.
they've got a pretty solid foundation of bullpen arms, and I wonder if Emrod kind of slots in towards the bottom to start, even though obviously Emrod's super talented, probably one of the higher ceilings of any of those guys in that bullpen. But obviously he's coming back from a really major couple of injuries now at this point. So it would be nice to see them kind of get him a little bit not hit the ground sprinting, but maybe hit the
Yeah.
ground walking or jogging a little
Yeah.
bit, so to speak. And yeah, it gives them a really interesting bullpen because I don't know what their plans are for Griffin Jacks. Like when he
Right.
returns, like maybe they just kind of slot him into the bullpen. Maybe they're just like, hey man, like why don't you run back out to the bullpen and be like kind of a middle relief guy? Or maybe they're really excited about having six starters in their rotation to finish out the season, which isn't the worst idea. With how many or five and a half, I know there's the 5.5 starter theory or whatever, like whatever they want to call it. If using all six of those guys as starters is maybe the best way to finish out the season to kind of limit some innings and conserve some of the bullpen, especially as rosters expand. There's just a lot of different things that the Rays can do here moving forward, especially with Emrod and hopefully, like we said, Griffin Jacks coming back and yeah, I'm really excited, man. It's like they kind of have another sort of trade acquisition, but they didn't
Yeah.
trade for him. It's another boost to the bullpen. So yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah. And right now you're gonna when you add Emrod, the you have a five in the bullpen of Baker, Kelly, Tyler Wells, Clevenger, and
Yeah, I
Emrod.
didn't even mention Tyler Wells. Yeah,
It's just a really good, man. And then you talk about, like you said, maybe who of the guys that are currently starting, right now you've got, Ian Seymour, Jax, maybe even Shane. Like who are we moving around when we're in a postseason rotation to where they're going to be in the ball? It's just going to be awesome. I'm just really excited about it. And that is not even to say anything of another little thing that's kind of cooking. We don't really know where it's going yet, but just something to just sort of observe if you want to over these last couple of weeks here. Brody Hopkins
I know. I saw that. Yeah, I saw the
moved to
little.
the bullpen for the
Yeah,
last couple of games. And it's been mixed returns so far, but his last outing, he looked particularly nasty.
yeah.
Um,
His
it's
stuff will play.
it's just one of those things. Like we've seen the Rays do this before with Shane, bringing them up to be kind of a bullpen, kind of a break glass in case of emergency, high octane guy. It's a different look from some of the other stuff the
a
Rays
very
have.
a very different look.
Very
Yeah,
different look because the
yeah.
Rays in seasons past have kind of been known for having high octane. We've got a whole stable of guys that throw 99. Not this season. We don't, not really. That's not really the way the Rays bullpen is. They're not super high octane. It's a lot of, there are some guys that throw hard, but it's mostly just really good command, good use of a changeup. But Brody Hopkins does throw hard. He was throwing a
Yeah.
101. He was blowing a 101 out there. And so it would be interesting to see if they do make a move to just sort of give him a shot, maybe at the very end of the season in the postseason, just something to monitor. It's just going to get really interesting to see how the Rays want to format their pitching staff going into the postseason.
Yeah, and I think to say that Brody Hopkins' 2026 has been disappointing might be putting it a bit mildly. So it's nice to see him, even if he doesn't end up in the major, even if he just finishes out the season in AAA as a bullpen guy, if he's able to kind of find a little bit of a grace or a silver lining for the season that has kind of sort of been lost for the most part in
Sure.
terms of his
Yeah.
development. It would be really, really nice to see that. And man, if he can make it work enough to where he ends up in the majors, like that's a completely different arm from really. I mean, it's a very unique style of pitching. Like he's got the funky arm slot with the weird movement, and it's coming at you like really hard. Like he's disgusting. If he's throwing strikes, he's absolutely filthy. But like I said, that this year has kind of been a really, really difficult one for him because he can't throw strikes consistently enough. Like his
Yeah.
walk rate is sky high in the minors. Like it hasn't been a great year. So if he can figure it out in the bullpen and maybe even make a major league contribution, that would be wonderful. But even if not, I'm happy to see that he's finding his way back to the mound in actual games because man, getting put on the developmental list, like that's just such a tough break, like such a tough thing to have to go through, a real punch in the gut. And well, I'm not disagreeing with it at all. Like he was having a rough year. If the Rays deemed it the right move, it was probably the right move. And not approaching it from that angle, but just more in like, dang, like that's tough. So yeah, hopefully he can finish it out and maybe, like you said, maybe make a contribution, and that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and who knows what the final version of Brody Hopkins is? And the Rays do have a wealth of options from a starting pitching perspective in their minor league system. And so it may be that maybe that's the move. Maybe the move is, hey, we've got starting pitching options, right? It can never have enough, but like maybe we do need to see if he can find something to maximize his value in the back end. So it will be interesting to see. But that's going to be our show for this week. And we're getting into some very important stretches of baseball, obviously going into the postseason. This kind of very next stretch that we're in right now is kind of interesting because we're playing the Orioles right now, and then we kind of have we have a little division stretch here. We're finishing up the 4-game set with the Orioles tomorrow. The Blue Jays come here, then we go to Camden, then we go to Detroit. And then we got a little NL stretch there in September with the Padres and the Mets. And then we've got, a pretty tough September to bring it home that's sort of punctuated at the very end with the Yankees series, the 4-gamer, the second to last series of the year. So a lot still to be decided, but you got to feel great about where the Rays are right now.
Absolutely, man. They're playing in really, really important games. Well, really, really important. They're going to make the playoffs. If they don't, it would be like one of the most epic collapses in baseball history.
Yeah.
And they're looking pretty good to win the division too. Obviously, anything can happen, but some really important games here to finish out this season. And that's all you can really ask for. That's all you can really ask for. And they're in an outstanding spot. Other than maybe being the Dodgers, probably the best spot in baseball. I'd say they're probably in the best shape in baseball because the Brewers are in the NL and they might have. I can't remember if they have a slightly better record than the Rays, but they got to beat the Dodgers in the playoffs to get to the World Series.
Correct.
The Rays do not. So that's a much more envious position to be in for the fun small market team that is having an outstanding season. So the Rays are in great shape and it's a great time to be a Rays fan.
It is. I'm rooting for the Brewers Rays World Series.
That'd be awesome.
Let's burn it all down. The last
That's
one
right.
we get, maybe the last World Series ever, jokingly, hopefully not. Let's burn it all down. That would be super fun. But whether the Rays end up playing in the World Series or whatever ends up happening, it's always going to be Rays up here.
Rays up, baby.
Thank you for tuning into this presentation by RBLI Sports. On your way out of the stadium, please remember to like and subscribe.